Folks, welcome back to another episode of the Blockbuster Brothers. Today, we're going to do a little something different, okay? We're going to cover a few topics, Brian and I. Number one, we're going to talk about some news with Demon Slayer. Number two, we're going to talk about some K-pop Demon Hunters news as well. And then we're also going to cover Task, Next Gen Chef, and The Girlfriend on Prime Video. Brian, let me start with this. Have you heard the news about Demon Slayer Infinity Castle?
Well, I have watched the Demon Slayers. Jeez, I'm butchering it from the start. They're gonna come after me. But I've watched this series. I haven't watched the theatrical release, but I think it's doing pretty massive numbers, isn't it?
Yeah, it is 100%. And I'll read you kind of like the news basically. Demon Slayer Infinity Castle has been making history since its North American premiere, and it has surpassed Superman in the box office.
Wow.
Surpassed it. And it's raked in $633 million in global sales. And it has broken the previous record for the most highest grossing Japanese movie of all time. And it was another rendition of Demon Slayer Mugen Train. So just crazy. Like, those numbers are just outstanding.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear, and awesome to hear that there's things filling in the void on theatrical release. And it's probably for these studios, they're like, what the hell? Because this kind of reminds me of here's another animation movie coming out of different regions of the world, not the US and more Asian markets. You have Neza, which is a Chinese production, which was the highest. I'm pretty sure it made over $2 billion. Over $2 billion in box office. It had a limited, I think, release domestically in the US, and now they're doing a re-release domestically in the US. I'm going to go see it because I had to drive an hour and a half to go see that. But these animations are making massive money, and animation is becoming more and more of a legitimate box office hit. And it's not necessarily coming out of the US, and you got the manga pipeline, so it's pretty tough. It's I like it. I think that this is great and goes to show how strong of an audience it has.
Yeah, it's a killer series. I'm in the same camp as Brian. I have seen the series, loved it, but haven't seen either of the films. But again, like Brian said, it's just so cool to be able to have films like do such numbers. Really neat. Speaking of demons, Brian, and you wouldn't know this because you don't really play Fortnite anymore, but K-pop Demon Hunters is in Fortnite now.
Wow, you know what? I think that makes perfect sense, and I think that actually is a great matchup. Especially with kind of the combat nature of the Demon Hunters. I think that that's kind of almost, the songs are so good that you forget that they're like actually dope, like ninjas as well. So I think that this is just a great way to, and I look back, some of my fondest memories playing Fortnite with you have been playing the Marvel's characters when they had the superhero releases, and it just furthers embeds you into their IP and connects you with the characters even more. I think that this is awesome. This is how you market it, things. I don't think that they knew how big this was going to be, but Rumi, I want to play as Rumi and all these guys, and I think that that's awesome. I've always loved how Fortnite really utilizes kind of their advertising of different IPs, and has managed to keep it always fresh. I think that that's why Fortnite has found a way to always be such a staple in the multiplayer, and kind of a foundation to that sort of style of gaming.
Yeah, it's a real testament to how quickly K-pop Demon Hunters caught fire. Out of nowhere to a global sensation, kind of capitalized off by this Fortnite run. So you can, a couple things with the update, just because I've played it. You can eat little ramen cups to get health, and you like eat it really, really fast. So that's super cute.
Wow. I love
And then
that.
there are like basically areas where you can like capture, and if you dance on this dance floor, the capturing process goes quicker. So it's like,
Oh,
the
cool.
singing and the
Okay.
dancing. And then the storm looks like the barrier the girls use to kind
Oh,
of
the
like keep peace.
Hajj moon or high moon.
Yeah, I don't know, like, the
Full moon.
slightly,
I saw something like that.
yeah, so it's neat. And by the way, Neza 2, 1.9 billion, not one, but I mean that's massive. I mean, absolute
Is that
ridiculous number.
that's the most ever? Am I wrong?
I don't know if it's yeah, it became the highest grossing film of all time in a single market with okay, with a Chinese gross of 1.9. So
So
I'm not
what's it
sure about
total?
ever.
If it's just Chinese,
Single market with a gross of 1.9.
what's their like total domestic and international?
Yeah, I would need to check. But I'll tell you, this movement of really original, cool animations, and especially the blend between Asian cultures and others, I just think is really neat, and that's kind of what we're seeing this crossover success. I mean, it says the first international film to reach 1 billion and 2 billion at the box office. All right, so we're gonna have to get back to you on the exact specific, but it's made a ton of money.
Yeah, and I haven't watched the second one, but I love the first one. It's just got that charm that like I think it's really tough to tap into. This is art we're dealing with. And, you saw Disney do it back in the day where you just kind of strike this note where it just has this life and charm to it. And it has this, I think it's this, you have to dance this line of, keeping it wholehearted and child, but not like being afraid to touch on tougher and maybe harder moments. I think that's like, Bambi, they're, killing the mom right away. You're like, I think that you got to be, with the bad comes the good, and it's a delicate dance, and this is art form. So I'm
Yeah.
excited. I'm all for it. I got to go see the second one.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, and I think Frank Capra, the famous American director, said, um, "Your characters have to suffer in
Dude, you don't
order."
know Frank. You don't know.
I don't, I don't know him personally. All right, but
Well,
Brian,
he said, Stephen, you have to suffer. He's
right?
like,
He
if you
said in
don't
my
suffer, you're pathetic.
in my dreams, he came to me and he said, "Stephen, you must suffer." And then I was like, "Oh, I must suffer in order to have the cathartic, victorious moment in my life, and thus my characters will have the same arc."
So that's
Right.
why you were trying to get me to chew gum rocks the other day.
All right,
Sorry.
I got
Apologies.
no, we're going for it. I'm speaking of rocks, I have a task for you, Brian, okay? Would you like to know what the task is?
Yes.
Okay. You're going to go for a walk. You're going to go for a walk at some point because getting sunshine is good for you, right? We need to get out, get those legs moving, especially after sitting doing a podcast. But no, I really don't care about that task, to be honest. I just want to talk about
Ooh,
the show Task on HBO.
go beep yourself. I'm sorry. Let us know if you're even watching this. Like, how do you even feel about like? With Stephen and I always talk about this, and we'll talk about Task in a second here on HBO. About swearing. I don't know if like do you guys is that off-putting? Is that something that makes you feel a little bit more personally connected to? But that's something to leave the comment to. Please get engaged, and thank you for even watching up to this point. We appreciate you. But back
Correct.
to Ask Stephen on HBO. It's getting a lot of buzz, and I think it's got a great grittiness to it. You start to see, and not that this is a good test. I hate that I'm about to say what I'm about to say. I hate, but
What are you gonna say?
I
What are you
gotta
gonna say?
I gotta say it. And once you start seeing like memes come up, and like the pictures coming up on social media in like different ways, there's certain shows that like kind of infiltrate pop culture, and I think this one's on the cusp of it almost because I see so much of it. and I think it's got kind of like a little bit of that True Detectives. I think that, you know, strong masculine characters, you know, regardless of what's going on, will always work. Just like badass women will always work. Just like badass kids or the goofy comic relief character will always work. You, it's that doesn't take away one doesn't take away from the other. So I think that this is something that's been maybe shied away from because, you know, we, I don't necessarily agree with this because I think if you look back, you know, of course there are a lot of things that are wrong with it or ways that can be improved, but there's been badass characters for females for all the time. Quentin Tarantino, you know, as edgy has done really powerful roles to his female characters, even though he hasn't necessarily always treated those female actors with the most respect. If you look more into like the Uma Thurman on Kill Bill 2, how he kind of did force her to drive a car that she was uncomfortable and she crashed it and she like effed up her neck bad. And you know, I'm straying a little bit from here, but I think that, you know, it's a good strong with masculine characters, but it has it all well rounded, you know. So I probably got us canceled for that segment, Steven. So I
No,
apologize.
your point is that strong female and male characters work, period. It's just what it does. And especially if you care about them, if you can find a way to care about them because A, they're good people, or they're good people but doing the wrong thing, like that combination. And
Yeah.
that's kind of what I saw in this show was like, dude, and I gotta be honest, I've been excited to react like this because I feel like I call it how I see it with acting sometimes and like, you know, whatever. Tom Pelfrey's performance in this show was unbelievable. Like so good to the point where I found myself just like I was so enraptured with everything he was doing. I was like just enjoying it from that sake. But I think you're right. It's a gritty show. It looks good. The camera work is good. I'm happy about it. And just in case anybody doesn't know, this is the log line. In the working class suburbs of Philadelphia, an FBI agent heads a task force to put an end to a string of violent robberies led by an unsuspected family man. And that's these two family men, Mark Ruffalo and Tom Pelfrey, played by them. They're both dads. Yeah, and I'll just keep going here just because I'll add this real quick. The creator and writer of the show, Brad Inglesby, he made Mayor of Easton, Run All Night, Out of the Furnace, The Way Back. So some interesting filmography, and definitely I'd say those are more gritty than light and Disney like.
And you know what I think what this project might be, maybe similar and maybe not to the same magnitude of what maybe True Detective was to Matthew McConaughey, because it's different because Matthew McConaughey was doing a different genre of movie. But I think maybe in a similar way where Tom, he's been, you know, probably more of supporting, starting to get more of feature and lead roles. But I think that this is a pivotal moment in his career where he's like transitioning to like, I can carry a, a, a lot of weight with my performance and be like kind of stepping out from, okay, I'm just going to be a supporting cast to like, I'll be the lead in projects now, because he does have, you know, it's all about suspension of disbelief, and like you shouldn't feel that these people are acting. Like you feel that these guys are like crazy and they're about it. You know, so they're making you believe in that, and that's what actors are here to do. And I think that, you know, everybody on this project has proven themselves more than capable, if not, you know, front runners for a lot of future projects to come. So I expect to see everyone a lot more.
Yeah, I mean an absolutely spellbinding performance, truly, and I don't get to say that often, and it feels so good to say it. And I'm just so stoked for him. Like, what a good job! Did you catch the two advertisement?
Those are
Advert?
little slide-ins, or just like
No,
subtle a little bit.
yeah, like subtle. There was definitely money exchange between a company and this show, did you catch the two things that were pretty obvious? They slid them good, but
What were they? What were they?
so eBay, there was a huge eBay plug.
Oh,
Mark
yeah.
Ruffalo is at his desk, and he opens a bag, and the eBay logo couldn't be more visible. Like, first of all, if you get something from eBay, you don't get that sticker. I've got a bunch of stuff that's just like sometimes. Anyway, so that was that. And then number two, M&M ice cream not only got a visual, they got in the dialogue. I just did all this cooking and you're eating M&M ice cream. So those were the two plugs. And you know what? I don't mind it if it's integrated seamlessly. And that's what it felt like. I was like, oh, okay. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, and I liked it, and I think that also bringing that up, I think that you have to talk about like Mark Ruffalo. He's, already established himself as a phenomenal actor, and I think that it's another topic how, I think the politics can be polarizing as well, and you do see a lot of actors that get involved, and I think that definitely has an effect on what people think. But I think Tom having a co-star in Mark, it goes to show you when you put like two phenomenal actors together, it can bring out the best out of each other. And I think that they both were kind of like stepping it up and playing into each other. Because I really like their combo. I think that they really brought the best out of each other too.
Yeah. Folks, that's a suggestion for us. I would say I would suggest this show to most people. So Brian, when I was 12 years old, went to a little place called the Culinary Institute of America in Hudson Valley, New York. Okay. My aunt went there as a student. She's a fantastic cook. She lives right down the street. I get to enjoy all her amazing food all the time. Okay. This show we're talking about, The Next Gen Chef on Netflix, is where I went with my father. And do you know what I ordered for lunch? At the Culinary Institute of America, the most famous,
let me guess. Don't tell me you got like chicken fingers, chicken tenders. You did. Well, you know what?
Let me say this. Yeah, were they good? I'll answer that with the best chicken fingers I've ever had in my life.
I don't mind that because I think that there's a little bit, if you get something like random, you don't know how good it is. Like I almost am like, there's certain dishes that I'm like, how good is like your cheeseburger? And like I can compare that off of all the other, you got to go with what you know. And you knew chicken tender. It might say something about you, but you stuck to your guns and you got to respect it.
Oh man! So what do
the show?
Oh yeah, and I remember literally I was watching it, going, I think I've been there. Like, what the heck? So what do you think? I watched 3 episodes. What do you think of the show overall?
I think that this lends itself to a bigger topic of cooking shows are such a staple, and I don't think that they're really talked about that much because it's kind of like almost like home renovating shows. It's like it's got its foothold in, at the end of the day, you have to relate to what people like and people need to eat, and they need to cook too. So I think that there's always a certain level of quality and entertainment value with these cooking shows. That doesn't mean that all cooking shows are high production or done well. I've seen some that I really like. I like a little bit ones with a little bit more swing on it, like they did a Harry Potter cooking show on HBO. They did a Dr. Seuss one on Amazon Prime. Which was actually really great. I wish they did more season. There's like a barbecue show on Netflix as well. I thought this was right up there with a really good one. I like a little bit more swing on to it because I think that it wasn't necessarily offering me anything that I was like, oh, this is so new or profound. But again, if you're a fan of cooking shows, it's definitely worth a watch. Would you agree?
Yeah, I gave it like a B+, and I was happy to come back. And yeah, it was good and it was cool. It's a really good idea for the PR of Culinary Institute of America, because I don't think that many people actually know about it.
So give a little log line of like what is the show about? It's like for
it's
those who haven't watched.
it's basically like episode 1 is half of the people go home. So they're just different cooking challenges. So in episode 2, you get one area of the world. You get Asian culture, you get Latin American, all that kind of stuff. So basically it's judged by Kelsey Bernard Clark, a Top Chef winner, and James Beard nominee, and Carlton McCoy, a master sommelier, which that title is absurd.
For the wine, yeah.
Correct. And so it's hosted by Olivia Culpo, who is the wife of Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, she's like a famous influencer and model.
Yeah, and she's probably the weakest part of the show, just in my opinion, because she's not great on camera, but she's not bad. So good for her for venturing out and doing it. I'm sure it is difficult, and like you got to put on show. So, but basically just cooking show. Someone goes home at the end of the week. A lot of young kids, a lot of one person's like 21. So you're talking about people that are already crushing it. Like someone's a private chef for the New York Jets already in this show. So they're not me and you slopping it around in the kitchen. They're dialed in.
You know what? This kind of just gave me an idea that I almost debated. I'm like, maybe I shouldn't say this because I think this is so good. I think that there's room for an anime show that is designed like one of these cooking shows where they hire a bunch, like the world's top chefs from all over the world, and they put them through a contest where when they get eliminated, they get executed. And it's just like the highest stakes for like the top chefs.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what.
Royale culinary game show to the death.
Yep.
And only anime can pull it off. Correct.
You're so on the money that if that hasn't been made already, that will get made in the next 3 years. Like
we gotta get on. And if you steal our idea, just give us a piece.
Yeah, just give us a piece. Just give us,
because at the end of the day, because that brings me up to another interesting idea about like people taking other people's ideas. And you know what? I do think that there's probably a degree where, there obviously is a line where it's like, that's messed up. Like you jacked it. But, I think if you still are doing the work, if you do the work legitimately, like it's just going to come out differently, slightly variations, but you just can't jack it. There's a fine line between inspiration and stealing.
Sure.
So just be inspired by it. If you're going to jack it, maybe, I don't know. Well, we're coming after you now.
Yeah. No, yeah, Brian, you and I will write it. Let's write an entire 3 seasons by what? Next Wednesday? Is that good?
Yeah. Work? Or I'm already done with it.
Okay.
The chef, Miyazaki, who only paints with and cooks for, there's so much room for creativity. You could even bring in some like fantasy aspects of it. I don't know.
No, right. Yeah, no, I think cooking has just been something I've been really enjoying recently, to be honest. And so one show, the last show we
really distracted him with that last one.
No.
I'm trying to knock this show off the tracks.
No, I was trying to think of a funny way to incorporate the title "The Girlfriend" into the segue, but I couldn't.
Well, you can't because you don't have one. Oh, wait, psych, he does. Oh.
Yeah, I know, and that's what's funny is I have one, but I might not have one soon. I don't know. I'll tell you. I'll tell you. One of our buddies, Walker, he does not have the girlfriend anymore.
Oh, he broke up.
That is rough, McGee. A break.
Great.
A break. Walker.
For those who don't know Walker, and of course you don't know him unless you're watching right now, we apologize, but everyone reach out.
And there's no way Walker's watching. That's why I feel safe to say it. Walker, we love you. We're just having a little fun. Okay. The Girlfriend, Prime Video. Here
Wait, no,
is the
I need to know what happened. Just give me the loose,
all,
just without
all
butchering. There's no shot he's watching. Just the people need to know, and I need to know as well.
no, all
Just
I know,
give us the log line of what happened.
all I know is he was hit with a text at like 9 a.m. to say, "Hey, can we talk?"
A 9 a.m. breakup. Oof.
And then they
Starting
talked on
to
the
pay off on the
phone,
wrong foot.
and they talked on the phone later that night. So that's a rough time to get a
Been on that all
text.
day.
Can you talk? You're like, oh no. So brutal McGee. But okay, so logline for the girlfriend Prime Video. Laura's son, Daniel, introduces his new love, Cherry. As Laura tries to welcome her, she notices Cherry lying and begins digging. Cherry conceals her past while navigating elite London circles and trying to win Laura's approval. So this stars and is directed by Robin Wright. Okay. So
Oh, Robin, Jenny?
I had no idea that she was like a legit director as well. And this goes back to she directed 10 episodes of House of Cards,
Oh, that's right.
Ozark, and Tell Me Lies.
Oh, wow.
So
So
this
here,
show,
wait. Before you start, I got a little idea for this last one. So I didn't get a chance to watch it, and I'm gonna be those people watching right now. If you're there, which again we appreciate you. I don't know how you made it this far. Actually, I know because Steven's a great guy. That's why you're here. But I'm a person, and you're trying to convince me to watch. Are you going to convince me to watch this show, or are you going to steer me away? Come on, sell me either the show or sell me not to watch it.
right.
And give me your pitch. I would love your pitch for this. So, Steven, you were talking about this girlfriend show. Do you think it was worth watching or not?
That's interesting, Brian. You posed that question. I would say for anybody above 30, Robin Wright's direction, acting presence, and overall storytelling is compelling enough for me to tell you you should give it a shot.
But what does that even mean?
Oh, come on. That was pretty good.
That was, but come on, let's keep it real. Let's talk like two friends, where where it's like
Okay, we're
so
doing
so
the neighborhood one. Okay.
so like so what like is it what genre is it? Is it even like exciting? Is it a lot of dialogue? Like
It could
I
be
don't know. I feel like I don't know
it,
if I'm
yeah, if I'm talking to you on the stoop after a long work day, hey man, what'd you watch recently? Oh yeah, I watched The Girlfriend, that kind of thing. I'd be like, I would say it's it's a little slow because it's kind of more of a play, I'd say, in the way it's structured. It's not
quit playing with me, bro.
I'd say in the simplest terms, I go, yeah, it's a little slow, but it's well done.
What type of mood would you have to be in to watch this, and who would you watch this with?
Um, you would watch it with your girlfriend if you had one.
Okay.
Oh,
Ooh. But okay, I think that's Robin is another huge legend. Coming back to the days of Jenny Forrest Gump, which is another interesting topic of. I don't know. I just feel like not to talk crap about Robin. You're great out there, Robin, if you're watching this. But just there's a lot of shows that I feel like are pretty forgettable. And maybe that's like, there's just they have to pump out so much, but
no, yeah. This one I would say is not in that category of like, oh
it's
man,
worth.
yeah, no, like it's well done. Will it be your cup of tea? I don't, on the average person, I don't know, but I do think people kind of 30, 40 and up would have a good shot at liking it, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, so definitely not a throwaway, like let's say like the Electric State from Netflix, that movie. That felt like a throwaway where you're like, what are you guys doing?
Hey, at the end of the day, I think we gotta give it to. I want to see more and more like artists ownership over project, and like if this is Robin Wright's vision and it's not like some studio just trying to make a buck, like that's a project I can even get behind. So on that
Yes.
idea, I want to give it a shot. If that's what you're saying, that it's a little bit more of like an auteurs piece than just your typical studio kind of electric state, what you will. But I'm excited to see that. Good for Robin. I didn't know that she was that prolific of a director. I remember that House of Cards stuff. But it's interesting when you hear that's a big foothold in the directing community is these actors kind of stepping through a little bit. I think that's how a lot of people, that's a good gateway for the directors, for anybody who wants to be a director, maybe work a little bit more on your acting.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's been a ton. Well, not too many, but definitely a good amount. Well, folks, I think that's the weekly roundup. Brian and I covering kind of what's hot in the film and TV world. And in this case, Fortnite. I think, Brian, after this, I will call my girlfriend and see if she's actually still my girlfriend. So we'll do that.
Probably not. So just, brace yourself, and you can join Walker on the single chain, and you can
Yes.
win each other.
Yes.
It's good to, as your boy, whatever his name, you got to suffer.
Yes.
So
Frank Capra.
this
Yep.
Frank, good old Frank, he's happy that you're suffering. I don't hope you suffer. I hope you still got a girlfriend, and I hope all of you have a girlfriend, boyfriend, partner, lover, dog, cat, fish, hedgehog, whatever. We love you. We'll catch you all in another episode of the Blockbuster Brothers.